in the for the Senate in Texas, which is why we had booked you to be on our show, and we always appreciate your time, although the news has overtaken that story for the moment. So I want to get your view, largely as a member of Congress, because we have had wars in that part of the world that have ended up being a real cause of loss of blood and treasure. We can have a debate about whether we should be having a war with Iran, and we don't really have much of a debate about whether the Iranian regime is a bad regime. But Congress was not asked about this.
No, we were not. And that's the problem. You know, there are people that will land on all sides of this conflict and what should be happening or shouldn't be happening. But the one thing that I want to remind the American people of is that we have a Constitution. And frankly, as members of Congress, we swore an oath to the Constitution as well as the president. And right now, what we are clearly witnessing is lawlessness yet again from this administration. And my question to my colleagues in a very serious way is, will you put aside your loyalty to this orange man and actually focus on your loyalty and your oath to the Constitution, which says that only Congress has the power to declare war? It is time to rein him in a bipartisan way.
And do you think that kind of bipartisan support exists? There's actually a lot more bipartisan support recently in Congress than we had grown to expect over the course of the last year. Whether or not this is about approving a war, it's fundamentally about Congress asserting its role as the branch of government that is constitutionally allowed to determine whether war occurs.
That's exactly right. And listen, Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna have been working together quite often on bipartisan legislation, including the Epstein files. And so they do have a war powers resolution that they have been working on together. And I do know that Ro Khanna has made it clear that he wants to bring that to the floor on Monday. My question to Speaker Johnson is, how many people are going to have to die because this president just decided that he was going to do whatever he wanted to and to ignore our congressional authority and our congressional powers? I don't think that we should wait till Monday. And this is being said as someone who literally has an election on Tuesday. I've got to make sure that I am doing what I swore an oath to do as a sitting member of the House. And I think Speaker Johnson needs to call us in right now, and we need to deal with this right now.
The authorization for the use of military force, which was passed in 2001 in the wake of 9/11, has been sort of stretched and extended, largely allowing the president certain powers as it relates to certain terrorist groups, named terrorist groups. It didn't name ISIS, but it's been legally thought to understand ISIS. It does not extend to the Iranian regime, whatever one thinks of the Iranian regime. You're a lawyer. At some point, if the administration wants to make a case about why America should be bombing Iran, there are lots of places to make that case. I do want to remind people, the president has not gone to Congress asking for an AUMF. This is not even a debate technically that has happened in Congress.
That's correct. I mean, you know, and here's the thing. I was concerned when he went into Venezuela, because I said that because of the cowardice of our Republican colleagues, this was going to give a permission structure for bad behavior. And that's exactly what we've seen. Now, we know that he's been flirting with this. In fact, it was last weekend that I thought that he probably was going to do this, because he has a history of doing this right on the weekend when we're not in, when we can't ask questions immediately and demand a briefing immediately. And so it is understandable that people have whatever issues that they have with Maduro, just like you've stated. People have whatever issues they have with the regime that is in control over in the Middle East. But the problem that we have is that you are not following the law. Like, that's the issue. If you feel as if you have everything that you need to actually engage in these types of actions, then why is it that you aren't coming to Congress? That is the big question. And my argument is that because it's not, that you don't have the legal authority when you go out on your social media platform and you say things like, well, they interfered with the election. That is not a reason to go and drop bombs and kill people and risk the lives of the people that have sworn an oath to protect this country. Right now, people's sons, daughters, aunts, uncles, mothers, and fathers may end up being thrust into a war because of his maniacal issues as relates to an election, at the same time that he is flirting with us not even having elections.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, thank you for your time.
Absolutely. I mean, this orange man, completely lawless, should be impeached as soon as possible. If not, then disaster awaits.